I attended my first ever Muay Thai class just over 2 years ago, and let me tell you, going into it, I was beyond nervous. When it came time to spar at the end, I said yes, I wanted to participate, but I remember also telling everyone I went up against that it was my first class, so hopefully they wouldn't go that hard on me. Since then, I've been going regularly over these past 2 years, about 1 to 3 times a week. And while Muay Thai doesn't have a formal belt ranking system, I was recently honored to receive a rank promotion to my gym's green belt level.
Green level, gray and blue, let's give it a hand.
So with that, I guess I can say I'm officially an intermediate level student. And I think being in this stage provides a pretty unique position to see things from. I'm not quite advanced, but I'm not really a beginner anymore. Although sometimes I still feel like one. There are times where I go up against someone who's way better than me, and it just feels like I revert to knowing absolutely nothing. So I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of what it's like starting from scratch and learning to fight, especially as a nervous beginner. And that's what this video is all about. Now, first off, I feel like there's a lot of misconceptions out there about fighting, especially if you've never done it. Like, I thought if I ever got into a fight, even though I've never been in one before, I could probably knock someone out with a perfectly timed and perfectly placed punch to the jaw. But once I started training, I learned very quickly that that was not the case. No, I would not be able to do that. If you get into an actual fight and you've never been in one before, that fight will end very quickly and not in your favor. Now, when you're a beginner, you tend to do a lot of beginner things. You tend to only aim your punches at people's heads and not their bodies. You tend to throw pretty softly because you're kind of hesitant to actually hit your sparring partners. And you tend to grossly overreact when someone winds up to hit you. If you see a kick coming, your innate instinct is to drop your hands or move your arms towards it to block it. Or you might have been in the middle of throwing your own punch, but as soon as you see theirs coming, you might stop throwing yours and try to block theirs instead. And if you've never been hit before and you get hit, and I mean like hit hard, like you aren't able to dodge or block something and you take a heavy kick to the stomach or a hard punch to the face, that shit hurts. I feel like a lot of people haven't been hit before and they just don't understand what it's like to take a shot. When it happens, everything kind of just stops. Your body freezes. You don't feel like fighting. You just want to take a timeout. But there aren't always timeouts in fighting. And if your opponent is still hitting you, all you can do is instinctively cover up and protect yourself from getting hit hard again. You kind of shift into this cover up, one knee raised survival position. I've been in this position many times. It is not a fun one to be in. And I mean, getting hit hard sucks, but it's a necessary experience to go through, especially if you're learning how to fight. The other big thing I've noticed, especially for beginners, is that once someone hits you hard in sparring, you instantly become a lot more hesitant and cautious. Maybe you were comfortable throwing things before, but then they caught you with a hard counter shot that kind of rocked you. Well, now you're going to be overly protective in how you move. Now you're just trying to avoid getting hit like that once more. And when this happens, you don't really want to hit them hard back in return. If I'm scared of someone and they've hit me really hard, I don't want to hit them hard back in case that pisses them off and they hit me back even harder. As a nervous beginner, that is definitely not a place you want to go to. So you hold yourself back and become overly cautious. Your main goal isn't to hit them back and land some good shots on them. Your main goal is protecting yourself and surviving until the round ends. Now, I'm sure this sounds very familiar to anyone who's trained before. If you agree, let me know by hitting that like button. And if you disagree, let me know what you think in the comments. Anyway, that's pretty much how most of my sparring rounds went for the first few months of training. And that's basically what it's like being a nervous beginner learning how to fight. Lots of hesitancy and lots of caution. And I mean, this is a pretty common state to be in when you're first starting out, because most of the people you go up against will be better than you. People who aren't as hesitant to hit hard and get hit hard in return. But I've also learned that this state actually occurs at all levels of fighting. Everyone, including professional fighters, become a lot more hesitant and cautious once they've taken a few shots that hurt them. Getting hit hard sucks at all levels. You just get better at dealing with it the higher up you go. And as you keep training, as you progress and get better, you eventually become less hesitant and less cautious. You develop better habits. You get better with techniques that prevent you from getting hit hard in the places that you need to protect. You learn to parry, to block, to slip, to roll, and to check. Eventually, you learn to do even more advanced things like counter, intercept, and interrupt. Over time, you slowly start to have better combos during your exchanges. is. You start to have better exchanges during your rounds, and eventually you start to consistently have better and better rounds. And by this point, you realize that learning how to fight, is a lifelong journey that will go on as long as you're committed to it. I don't think any quote sums up learning how to fight better than James Clear's, "You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems." Learning to fight is all about rewiring your brain, conditioning yourself to move differently than how your initial instincts tell you to, developing and building up the level of your systems. And despite all this growth that you eventually go through, I don't think the nervousness ever truly goes away. There will always still be that little bit of fear every time you go up against someone who could hurt you. But you know what? That's what makes up the thrill of learning to fight. Anyway, that's it for today. If this resonated with you or you found this insightful, your thumbs up is very much appreciated. You may also enjoy this video, which talks about the biggest things I've learned after 2 years of Muay Thai. Consider subscribing for more videos like this. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
It's done.
You got that on video.